Welcome to our channel Minutes Audiobook. Today we diving into The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, book. Please subscribe for daily videos. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz is a spiritual guide that offers a simple yet profound code of conduct for living a life of personal freedom and happiness. The book is deeply influenced by Toltec wisdom, which was passed down through generations of ancient Mexico's spiritual traditions. The central message of the book is based on four agreements that we make with ourselves, which are meant to guide us toward greater freedom, peace, and joy. The introduction of the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz introduces the core message of the book, the idea that we have all been domesticated by society, culture, and family into making unconscious agreements about how to live our lives. These agreements, often formed from fear, expectations, and societal conditioning, create a dream that dictates how we perceive ourselves, others, and the world around us. This dream is often filled with negativity, judgment, and self-limiting beliefs. Ruiz explains that these agreements shape the way we experience life, and they determine much of our suffering. The introduction sets the tone for the four simple but powerful agreements that the book explores, which can help us break free from the negative patterns and beliefs that cause pain and frustration. These four agreements serve as a code of conduct for creating personal freedom, peace, and happiness. They are designed to undo the negative conditioning we have received and help us live authentically. Ruiz also discusses how the agreements we make with ourselves affect not only our own lives but the lives of those around us. By changing the way we think and act, we can create a new dream, one of love, happiness, and freedom. In essence, the introduction to the Four Agreements prepares the reader for a journey of self-awareness, where they will learn to shift their beliefs and behaviors to align with the four core principles: being impeccable with your word, not taking things personally, not making assumptions, and always doing your best. These agreements, Ruiz suggests, have the power to transform our lives and lead us to a more peaceful and fulfilling existence. Chapter 1, The First Agreement, Be Impeccable with Your Word. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. Ruiz emphasizes that words have immense power. They are the most powerful tool we have for creating and shaping our reality. Impeccability with your word means speaking with integrity, saying only what you mean, and avoiding using your words to spread negativity, gossip, or judgment. Being impeccable with your word also means avoiding self-criticism and negative self-talk. Words shape our beliefs and emotions, and speaking positively about ourselves and others fosters an environment of respect and love. According to Ruiz, when we use our words to express truth and love, we can avoid causing harm to ourselves and others. This agreement calls for conscious awareness of the language we use, and it highlights the importance of both what we say and what we choose not to say. In short, when we are impeccable with our word, we align ourselves with our highest intentions and create a life of clarity and truth. Chapter 2, The Second Agreement, Don't Take Anything Personally. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Ruiz explains that nothing others do is because of you. It is always a reflection of their own reality, beliefs, and personal experiences. When we take things personally, we become vulnerable to the opinions and actions of others, which can lead to unnecessary suffering and emotional turmoil. Ruiz emphasizes that other people's actions and words are influenced by their own perceptions and struggles. When we take things personally, we internalize their judgments and allow them to shape our self-worth. But, when we release the need to take things personally, we free ourselves from the power that others' opinions have over us. This agreement requires a deep understanding that we cannot control how others think, feel, or behave. By not taking things personally, we protect ourselves from the emotional pain that comes from believing that others' actions or words are a reflection of who we are. Chapter 3, The Third Agreement, Don't Make Assumptions. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. Ruiz describes how human beings often make assumptions about people, situations, and events without actually seeking clarity or understanding. These assumptions are usually based on our fears, insecurities, and projections, which can lead to misunderstandings, conflict, and unnecessary suffering. Ruiz advocates for asking questions and seeking clarity instead of jumping to conclusions. When we make assumptions, we often create false narratives and misunderstandings that can lead to hurt feelings, disappointment, and frustration. To avoid this, Ruiz encourages us to communicate clearly, express our feelings, and ask for clarification when we're unsure. Making assumptions also prevents us from experiencing the truth of a situation. It's easy to jump to conclusions, but Ruiz emphasizes that by questioning our assumptions and seeking more information, we create stronger, more authentic connections with others. Chapter 4, The Fourth Agreement, Always Do Your Best. The fourth agreement is always do your best. Ruiz explains that our best will vary depending on our circumstances, physical health, emotional state, and other factors, but the key is to do our best in any given moment. By committing to doing our best, we free ourselves from self-judgment and regret. The concept of doing your best is about embracing self-compassion. It is not about striving for perfection, but about giving our full effort without overexerting ourselves. When we do our best, we avoid feelings of guilt or shame about what we could have done differently. Doing our best also allows us to enjoy the process, rather than focusing solely on the outcome. Ruiz notes that when we make this agreement, we give ourselves the freedom to be human, acknowledging that we are imperfect but capable of striving for excellence. This agreement also teaches that we should not judge ourselves harshly for not being able to do our best all the time. In moments when we cannot perform at our peak, we must still be kind to ourselves and recognize that our best changes from moment to moment. Chapter 5, The Toltec Wisdom, Living the Four Agreements. In this chapter, Ruiz delves deeper into Toltec wisdom and the practical application of the four agreements. He explains that by adopting these agreements, we can break free from the limiting beliefs and behaviors that have been instilled in us through cultural domestication. When we align ourselves with the four agreements, we begin to reclaim our personal power and move towards a life of freedom and happiness. Ruiz also emphasizes that living the four agreements is a continual practice. It requires self-awareness, discipline, and patience, as we are constantly confronted by old habits and conditioned responses. However, over time, the more we practice these agreements, the more they become a natural part of our lives, leading to greater peace and inner harmony. He also introduces the concept of dreaming, as it relates to the Toltec tradition. In this context, life is seen as a dream that we create with our thoughts and beliefs. The four agreements help us shift from a dream of suffering and limitation to a dream of love, happiness, and fulfillment. Chapter 6, Breaking the Old Agreements. In this chapter, Ruiz talks about the process of breaking free from the old agreements that we've made throughout our lives. These agreements often come from external sources such as our parents, society, and the people around us. They shape how we see ourselves, others, and the world. Many of these agreements are negative and restrictive, leading to feelings of guilt, fear, and shame. By practicing the four agreements, we begin to deconstruct the old, limiting agreements and replace them with healthier, more empowering ones. This is not an easy process, and it requires both courage and self-reflection. However, Ruiz reassures the reader that by practicing the four agreements consistently, we can gradually free ourselves from these old patterns and create a new reality based on love, acceptance, and understanding. Chapter 7, The Importance of the Four Agreements. The final chapter brings everything together and reinforces the importance of the four agreements in our daily lives. Ruiz explains that the four agreements are simple yet transformative tools for achieving personal freedom and happiness. They are universal principles that can be applied to any situation, relationship, or challenge. By practicing the four agreements, we shift our focus from external circumstances to internal freedom. We stop allowing our beliefs, assumptions, and fears to control us. Instead, we reclaim our power and begin to live authentically and peacefully. Ruiz closes by reminding the reader that the path to freedom requires commitment, but it is a journey worth taking. Conclusion: Living a life of love and freedom. The conclusion of the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz brings the reader back to the central idea of the book. By adopting the Four Agreements, we can free ourselves from the limiting beliefs and unconscious agreements that have been instilled in us throughout our lives. These agreements, being impeccable with our word, not taking anything personally, not making assumptions, and always doing our best, serve as a guide to personal freedom and happiness. Ruiz emphasizes that living these four agreements requires continuous practice and self-awareness. The agreements are not just abstract concepts, but practical tools that, when applied consistently, can transform how we experience the world and ourselves. He acknowledges that change is difficult and may take time, as the old beliefs and patterns we have followed for years may feel deeply ingrained. However, the process of adopting the Four Agreements can lead to profound personal transformation. One of the key themes in the conclusion is the idea of creating a new dream, a dream based on love, respect, and freedom rather than fear, judgment, and suffering. Ruiz suggests that by following the Four Agreements, we can move away from the dream of suffering that we often live in, and instead, we can create a new dream rooted in personal freedom and joy. Ruiz also talks about how the Four Agreements can have a ripple effect, not just changing our lives, but impacting the world around us. When we change the way we think and act, we contribute to a collective transformation. By practicing these principles in our daily lives, we can inspire others to do the same, creating a more harmonious and loving world. In closing, Ruiz encourages readers to continue their journey toward freedom and to remember that while living the Four Agreements may not always be easy, it is ultimately the path to peace, happiness, and authenticity. He reminds us that we have the power to choose the agreements we make with ourselves and that these choices can lead us to a life of love, fulfillment, and inner freedom. Key takeaways: impeccability with your word, speak with integrity, avoid gossip, and use words to create positivity and truth. Don't take anything personally, understand that the actions of others are not a reflection of you, but of their own perceptions and experiences. Don't make assumptions, seek clarity and communicate openly, instead of assuming you understand everything. Always do your best. Give your best effort in every situation, without expecting perfection, and without judging yourself for not being perfect. Thank you for watching. Keep support for daily videos. Make sure like, comment and share. Don't forget to subscribe our channel Minutes Audiobook. See you on the next video.